Snark squad, babes. The mango watermelon margaritas are back on deck, and honestly, we are vibing.
We are so vibing. Cheers to that. And cheers to you sitting right there on the couch with us, bestie. Make sure you have a drink in hand because tonight is going to require hydration. Or tequila. Probably tequila.
Definitely tequila. But wait, okay, before we even get into the actual drama tonight, we need to talk about firefighters.
Oh, boy. I knew this was coming. I saw the look in your eyes when you walked in.
No, listen to me. Babes, how are they always so hot? And I don't just mean on TV or in movies. I mean in real life, too. I drove past a fire station today and I lost my mind.
I mean, it's a well-documented phenomenon.
It's the uniform. It's the energy. They have this completely unbothered confidence and like the mystery of it all. They're just casually washing a truck, and I'm mentally calculating how many minor traffic offenses I'd need to commit to get their attention.
Okay, let's break this down analytically because you are currently spiraling over civil servants. Yeah. There is a psychological appeal here. It's the literal savior archetype wrapped in turnout gear.
Yeah. Yes. Turnout gear is elite.
Right, because it broadens the shoulders, it implies physical strength, and it signals that this human can physically carry you out of danger. It's an evolutionary trigger. Plus, they manage high adrenaline situations for a living, so off-duty, they probably have an incredibly low resting heart rate.
Exactly. See, you try to make it all scientific, but you're just agreeing with me that they are irresistible. Like, maybe we've been looking for sugar daddies in the wrong places this whole time. Maybe we need a fire daddy.
A fire daddy. Wow. I hate how much sense that makes. You get the municipal pension, the union health care, and they work 24-hour shifts. So you get the house to yourself for a whole day to just sit in silence and judge reality TV.
The absolute dream. Speaking of a domestic dream, we have to talk about what we just ate before hitting record.
I knew the lasagna was going to make an appearance.
Bestie, it wasn't just lasagna. It was a creamy white chicken lasagna, and it was life-changing.
It was structurally sound, I will give you that.
It was so cheesy, so comforting. Like, I feel like creamy pasta is just my core personality trait now. The ricotta ratio was flawless.
Are you going to start putting creamy pasta enthusiast in your social media bios? Because that is a slippery slope.
I just might. Honestly, we should have made an extra pan and dropped it off at the fire station. Like, just casually walk up like, "Hi, local heroes. Here are some complex carbohydrates. Please love me."
Hello, dispatch. Yes, there's a woman aggressively wielding dairy products outside the station. You are a menace.
I'm a romantic. But speaking of domestic life and romance, okay, we need to pivot. Hard pivot. We need to talk about something.
Uh-oh. Your tone just shifted. What are we talking about?
Farts.
Oh my God. We are literally recording.
No, we are going there. I need to know, and we need to ask our third bestie listening right now. Do you fart in front of your partner?
I mean, yes, it is a biological function.
Absolutely not. I am horrified. When does that even become acceptable? Is it a milestone?
It is absolutely a milestone. It signals secure attachment.
It signals the death of mystery. You cross that line and suddenly you're just roommates with active colons. The romance is dead. You have to maintain the illusion that you are an ethereal being who only consumes like matcha and good vibes.
That is deeply unhinged and scientifically impossible. It's a strategic power move. Once you break the barrier, you never have to hold it in during a 2-hour movie again. It's true intimacy.
If I ever do that in front of a man, I will pack my bags, fake my own death, and move to Switzerland. I could never look him in the eye again.
And this right here, babes, this is why we're single. We fundamentally do not understand how human relationships work.
Hey, I understand relationships, just not the gross parts. Like, imagine you're cuddling, candles are lit, and then disaster. The vibe is ruined.
You're acting like it's a structural collapse of a building. It's just messing.
It is a tragedy. Okay, babes, let's get into this, because clearly we are messy, but the people in 911 Nashville are somehow even messier. Let's get into the recap.
Let us descend into the chaos of Season 1, Episode 17, Saboteurs.
The title is so fitting because everyone in this episode is actively detonating their own lives. Let's start with the emergencies, because the actual 911 calls were wild. First up, Tanner and Alana.
Oh, the absolute idiots.
Idiots. So Tanner decides to propose to Alana, which, fine, but they are literally in the middle of a screaming match. She is threatening to end the relationship, and he thinks, perfect time to deploy the ring.
And he hides it in a slice of cake. Which is a terrible trope to begin with, but from a purely analytical standpoint, hiding jewelry in food when your partner is aggressively stress-eating out of pure rage is basically attempted manslaughter.
Right. She doesn't even chew. She just angrily shovels this huge bite of cake into her mouth to prove a point, and she swallows the ring. And Tanner just sits there. Why didn't he stop her?
He was probably paralyzed by his own stupidity, but honestly, if someone is dumping you, why are you sitting there watching them eat your expensive dessert? Take the cake back.
The medical implications had me sweating. What if it was a princess cut? Those corners are sharp. It could lacerate her esophagus, and she's choking, actively turning blue, but still glaring at him like, you are a narcissist.
The multitasking of being asphyxiated while maintaining a grudge is genuinely impressive, but it perfectly highlights the theme. Tanner sabotaged his proposal to try and trap her into staying.
Exactly. And speaking of sabotage, we have to talk about Eugene and the forklift disaster.
That was incredibly dark. Corporate greed at its finest.
It made me so angry. Eugene gets pinned by this massive piece of equipment because the forklift driver is a complete reckless disaster.
And the worst part is, the entire crew knew. Eugene knew. They had all been submitting formal complaints to management for months about this guy's driving.
Months. They had a paper trail, but management just ignored it because they didn't want to slow down production to hire someone new. They literally sacrificed Eugene's safety for a profit margin.
When you have thousands of pounds of industrial machinery pinning a human body, you are looking at severe crush syndrome. The toxins released into the bloodstream from muscle breakdown can cause immediate renal failure. It's not just a broken leg. It's lethal negligence.
Eugene needs to sue them for the entire company. I want him owning that construction site by season 2. But, okay, going from corporate sabotage to domestic sabotage, we have to talk about Taylor and Blue.
The domestic disaster.
It gave me the biggest ick of my life. Blue gets kicked out of his place, and instead of finding a normal roommate, he immediately moves in with Taylor. Way too fast.
They bypassed every logical step of relationship progression. He basically homosexualed his way into her apartment.
Homosexual is the exact word. And he is the worst roommate in the history of television. Taylor's trying to get ready for work, and he is taking an absurdly long shower.
He was in there for an eternity.
She knocks, and he's like, oh, I still need 20 minutes. 20 minutes. What are you doing in there? Are you laying tile? Are you making a documentary?
To defend Blue slightly, and I mean very slightly, he is just a clueless young guy. He's only ever lived with his mother, Dixie. He has zero domestic awareness.
Right.
He genuinely doesn't compute that he is draining the apartment's entire hot water supply.
Cluelessness is not an excuse for the humming. He was in there just cheerfully humming while Taylor's cortisol levels were through the roof. It was emotional exhaustion on her behalf.
It's infuriating, yes. And this is when Roxie actually steps in with some solid advice. She warns Taylor about the ick.
The most important warning in dating history. Once you get the ick, it's terminal. You cannot recover.
From a psychological standpoint, the ick is fascinating. It's essentially your brain's pathogen avoidance system misfiring. You see someone do something slightly annoying, and your brain suddenly categorizes them as fundamentally repulsive on a biological level.
Yes. Like when a guy chases a ping pong ball down the street or when he takes a 40-minute humming shower, the romantic attachment just instantly dies. So Taylor finally sits him down and kicks him out, but says she wants to slow things down and stay together.
And this is where we violently disagree.
Oh, here we go.
Look, I analyzed Blue's reaction. A lot of people in the Reddit threads noticed this too. Taylor sets this boundary, and Blue instantly deploys this wounded, sad puppy dog energy. He acts so understanding that he completely flips the dynamic.
He was just being sweet.
No, listen. He manipulates the conversation so that Taylor ends up comforting him about kicking him out.
Yeah.
He totally evades any accountability for being a nightmare roommate. You have to remember who his mother is. He has Dixie's DNA. He is showing subtle, manipulative traits.
I completely reject this theory. You and the cynical Reddit snarkers need to leave Blue alone. He is not Dixie. He's just a boy who loves Taylor and is terrified she's dumping him. He wasn't playing some 4D chess mind game. He was just sad.
I'm just saying the puppy dog eyes are a highly effective defense mechanism.
Oh.
Fine, we can move on to someone who has absolutely zero defense mechanisms or game whatsoever.
Roxie, our awkward queen.
Roxie and Elena's date was painful to watch.
It was so relatable, though. So Elena, who is this gorgeous viral influencer, asks Roxie out. And they do a Hot Ones style date, eating aggressively spicy wings.
Which is objectively the worst idea for a first date. Your sympathetic nervous system is panicking, your blood vessels dilate, you are sweating profusely. It is not an environment conducive to romance.
Roxie has zero game. None. Elena is trying to flirt, and Roxie just deflects by using medical jargon. She starts diagnosing the biological effects of the capsaicin.
She literally calls it a reflex. To
Yeah.
avoid being emotionally vulnerable, she just builds a wall of clinical facts.
Babes, I felt that in my soul. If someone really hot is looking at me, I will completely panic and start reciting fun facts about the Titanic just to avoid actual intimacy. It is a valid defense mechanism.
It is a terrible defense mechanism. But we have to talk about the discourse surrounding these two, because the internet is losing its mind over a perceived age gap.
Oh my God, the Reddit threads are insufferable. People are complaining that it's predatory because Anna Akana, who plays Elena, looks like a 26-year-old, and Juani Felice, who plays Roxy, looks so much older.
Which is factually hilarious. We looked it up. They are literally 1 year apart in real life. Anna is 36 and Juani is 37.
It proves that nobody knows what women look like anymore. Elena is styled like a Gen Z influencer with bright makeup and trendy clothes. Roxy is styled as a stressed-out medical professional with her hair pulled back and no sleep.
Exactly. It's entirely visual coding. People are applying real-world moral panic to a styling choice. But despite the awkwardness, they do get a milestone moment later.
Yes. They get called out to that isolation case where the elderly person is just suffering from sheer heartbreak. And Roxy realizes she doesn't want to end up walled off and alone.
It shatters her clinical armor.
She goes back to Elena, and we get the first women kissing on the show. Angels were weeping in my living room. I was cheering.
It was a very earned moment, a nice palate cleanser before we absolutely dive into the most toxic waste dump of a storyline on television.
Oh, bestie, the triangle of trash.
Dixie, Dawn, and Blythe. We need to unpack every single layer of this soap opera. Let's start with the diss track.
Dixie, played by Leanne Rimes, goes into a studio and records a song exposing Blythe's sealed juvenile criminal records.
Let's talk about the performance first. Leanne Rimes is making some choices. She is doing this fake, whiny, high-pitched voice, and she just has this permanent smug look on her face.
She is playing the villain so well, but it's infuriating. And the styling. Someone on Primetimer said she looked like she was wearing leopard print Temu knockoffs, and I screamed. It was so accurate.
The wardrobe department nailed the chaotic desperation. But we have to make a confession to the Snark squad right now.
Don't make me say it.
We both admitted this off mic.
Fine. The song is an absolute banger.
It is undeniably catchy. I hate myself for humming it, but it is a masterfully produced country pop revenge track.
It's so good, but it's so evil. And then she escalates from a diss track to actual federal crimes. The blackmail.
Dixie demands $45,000 from Dawn and Blythe.
Plus, she demands access to family events for, quote, our boys, meaning Blue and Ryan. Ryan is Blythe and Dawn's kid. Dixie has no right to demand to be at Ryan's birthday parties.
She gives them until the end of the week. If they don't pay up and invite her to Thanksgiving, she's going to drop another track about Blythe's ex-boyfriend, Patrick.
This is where my brain started spinning. How did Dixie get Blythe's sealed juvenile records? They're legally sealed.
Exactly. You can't just Google that. Someone with high-level access leaked them. Was it Patrick?
Or was it Edward?
Nah.
Blythe's dad. He is so controlling. I could totally see him feeding Dixie the dirt just to ruin Blythe's marriage and force her back under his control.
Edward is a prime suspect. But we need to discuss the ultimate villain in all of this, Dawn.
Don Hart is the absolute worst man on television.
The hypocrisy is staggering.
He is pacing around the kitchen, screaming at Blythe about her past and who she slept with while they were separated. Babes, Dawn, you literally slept with Dixie during that exact same separation.
And got her pregnant.
You have a whole adult child with your affair partner, and you are judging Blythe for having an ex-boyfriend. The audacity of this man.
Chris O'Donnell is really phoning in the acting here, but the character of Dawn is just a massive doormat. He's deflecting his own guilt onto Blythe. And honestly, he secretly loves the attention.
Yes. Blythe reads him to filth. She looks at him and says, you like having her around.
And she is completely right. Subconsciously, it feeds Dawn's ego to have this woman so obsessed with him that she's committing extortion just to stay in his orbit.
Yeah.
He does the bare minimum to stop her because he enjoys feeling desired.
It's repulsive, and the meta gossip is making me panic. Did you see the promo for next week?
I did. It heavily implies Dawn and Dixie kiss.
If he kisses her, I'm throwing my TV out the window. And on top of that, Jessica Capshaw is the only cast member who hasn't posted about the Season 2 renewal on Instagram.
Which is highly suspicious. She doesn't live in Nashville. She's kids in LA.
Is she leaving? If Blythe leaves, I am boycotting.
Well, let's look at the other casting news. Ryan Phillip was just cast as a detective for Season 2.
Do you think he's Patrick?
It would make perfect sense. If Ryan Phillip comes in as the mysterious ex-boyfriend, Dawn is finally going to have real competition.
Honestly, I have a darker wish. I am manifesting that Dawn and Dixie get into a fiery car crash. Like, just completely removed from the show. And then Blythe, Blue, and Ryan can live happily ever after with Ryan Phillip.
That is incredibly dark, but I respect the vision. All right, let's move into our first segment, hero behavior or just for show.
Okay, the premise is simple. We look at a moment from the episode and decide if it was actually heroic or just performative garbage.
And the moment is Dawn supposedly standing up to Dixie.
Yeah.
I will go first. It is 100% performative.
1,000,000%.
He goes to the studio, lowers his voice, and tells her to stop. But he doesn't actually do anything. He doesn't call the cops. He doesn't protect his wife legally. He just wants to look like a good guy.
He is a fraud. Real hero behavior would be getting a restraining order. You know what isn't hero behavior? Paying for her vocal cord surgery. He literally financed the surgery she needed so she could sing the diss track about his wife.
It is the ultimate self-sabotage.
Okay, next segment. Would you survive this episode? We pick scenarios and honestly say if we'd live. Scenario A, the hot ones date.
I would survive the spice. I have a great tolerance, but I would die of secondhand embarrassment from Roxy's medical jargon. I would just dissolve into dust.
I would physically die. I can't handle spice. I would be sweating off my foundation, crying in front of a hot influencer and begging for milk. It would be a tragedy. Okay, scenario B, swallowing the engagement ring.
I would never swallow it. I'd chew my food meticulously. I would bite down, crack a tooth, and immediately sue Tanner for dental damages.
I eat cake like a feral goblin. I don't chew. I would inhale a 2-carat princess, cut diamond directly into my trachea, and choke to death on the spot.
You really need to slow down when you eat.
I can't help it. Okay, segment 3. Emergency contact energy. Who from the show do you trust as your emergency contact, and who is an absolute no?
The MVP is Blythe. No contest.
Lips.
She has old money. She knows how to handle administration. She pays off blackmailers in cash. She would get you upgraded to a private VIP hospital room in 10 minutes.
She would probably buy the hospital wing. Who is your absolute not?
Dawn. Or Dixie.
If I am bleeding out on a stretcher and Dawn shows up, he's going to ask me what I was doing in 1998 to deserve this. He would blame me.
And Dixie would literally stand over your hospital bed and write a country song about your trauma.
She's bleeding on the floor and I'm walking out the door.
Stop. The melodies are too catchy. Okay, final segment. One call. What do you think? You get one dramatic 911 call. Let's reenact it.
I am going to be Alana choking on the cake. Yeah. You be the unhelpful Nashville dispatcher.
Ready. 911. What is your emergency?
I am choking. My airway is blocked. But also, I need you to know, Tanner is a gaslighting narcissist. He proposed while we were breaking up.
Ma'am, try to breathe.
Yeah.
But also, was the ring at least 2 carats?
It's a princess cut. And the cake was red velvet. It looks like internal bleeding. Tell my mom he's toxic.
Ma'am, if it's not 2 carats, we don't send an ambulance. Best of luck with your esophagus.
You are the worst dispatcher ever.
I am just matching the energy of the city.
Honestly, facts. Well, babes, my margarita's entirely gone.
We have truly spiraled.
Right, we really did. From fart timelines to corporate negligence to Leanne rhymes.
And we didn't even solve the fart debate.
We will never solve it. I'm taking my mystery to the grave. But seriously, to the Snark squad sitting on the couch with us, thank you for being here.
Thank you for riding the chaos. We couldn't do this without you.
Make sure you subscribe, leave a rating, and share this with a messy friend. You know the one.
The one who needs to know why you shouldn't hide jewelry and baked goods.
Exactly. Stay hot, stay messy, and we'll see you on the Snark side.
Good night, besties.